Hi, everybody. I hope everybody's doing having a good day wherever they are. Like I say in my videos, sometimes swear, and I'm not responsible for anything. Today, I'm going to be talking about Scientology and Tom Cruise, both of them. Scientology was founded by L. Ron Hubbard. Had the idea in 1950, and in 1953 founded the Church of Scientology. Is one measures up to 30,000 members about past lives and stuff like that. Some people think it's a religion, cult, and stuff. Ron Hubbard was born March 13th, 1911 till January 24th of 1986. He was, I guess, a Pisces. He was married 3 times. He has seven children. And his son took over. So we're going to look up about Scientology first, and then eventually I'll be talking about Tom Cruise with it. So I'm going to ask about it. When he was looking for Scientology, L.L. Hopper, was it to make his life, better because maybe he didn't have a good home life when he was young? Did he do it because he wanted his life to be better? Please, 4 cards. 4 cards. Did he want it to make his life better because maybe he didn't have a good life? Lack of faith. He didn't have very much faith when he was growing up. I guess he wasn't very religious when he was despair. I guess he was kind of, disappointed about his family life, so he wanted to do something different. I'm not sure what religion he was before. So he trusted himself. He said he had questions of what else is out there besides, the universe. He was a very emotional person. He got upset very easily. He liked to be the one in control of his destiny. And he thought he was a nurturing person. He was the member of Scientology. He was going to be the founding fathers of the Scientology, and this is the woman. You see, she's looking at thing. She wants to be the leader. She's a nurturing person. She's like the mother figure. He was sort of like the mother figure of Scientology. He wanted people to follow him, and he could nurture them and take care of them, but personal values. He was by choices of how, what we should stand for. Should we stand for thinking out, or they're aliens, or there are other life forms, or other things. And he had a lot of fantasy things, like things that were out there. Al Hubbard, so he was kind of out there personality. He was little. Was he? I'm gonna ask this. Was he mentally kind of not up there? Hubbard, was he kind of mentally not playing with a full deck? Hubbard, was he mentally unstable? Hubbard, please tell me, was Hubbard not the was he not all there? Please tell me. Was he like not playing with a full deck? I'm gonna look up two things. Two my oracle cards. You have to do it this way because you can't bend them. They're too kind of hard. So I'm gonna do 2 of these. Was he not playing with a full deck? Was he kind of crazy, or I don't know, bipolar, like what you would call nowadays bipolar? I don't think they had the name when he was growing up, living. He had bipolar or personality, some kind of was he, bipolar or whatever? Oh, that was backwards, but articles I don't read backwards. He personal projects. He projects that he wanted to get, do Scientology and make it better for his people and for himself. He wanted to be popular and people help him out. He had delays. It took a long time for Scientology to take off because a lot of people weren't sure it would be working out for him. So there were delays in that. And also he had delays with his brain chemicals because he had mental problems, and he wanted people to have self-respect of him because of how he felt about Scientology. He was very he became very spiritual, and he could be selfish, though. Hubbard could be selfish. He thought of himself, when he became famous, he became very arrogant and selfish. As time went by, he was very selfish and arrogant. And he wanted harmony in his group. He wanted his family to get along. He considered Scientology his second family, and he wanted them. Also, he wanted to find the meaning of life. With his personality and his beliefs and his health and stuff. He wanted to find the meaning of life. Like what is the meaning of life? He had limited belief, he criticized people. If they criticized him, he would be criticized. You want to get that, hon? And he had negative thoughts, like maybe he thought people were out to get him. I think he thought he had some mental problems. He thought people were out to get him. Like he had news for himself. He wanted freedom, He didn't want people followed by people's rules. He wanted to follow his own and he had limited beliefs. And also, he was impulsive and ruthless. He could be nasty, He was not always a nice person. Behind the scenes, he was not a very nice person, L.A. Hubbard. He probably I'm going to look up, did he treat his kids any well? Watch and wait. So he waited and watched, with his health. Eventually it got to him and he passed away because of his health. And up to speed. Like he tried to speed his health to get better. Maybe he tried to, take medicine to prolong his life. I'm going to look up. How did he get along with his children? I'll look that up. How did he get along with Hubbard? Did he get along with his children? Good, bad? I'll look that up. How did he get along with his children, Hubbard? Please tell me. How did he get along with his children? And in the past, did he get along good with his children or bad? Or they really thought he was a terrible parent? How did he in the past? 3 cards would be the past. When they were growing up, and then it was the present time he was alive. And I'm gonna do 2 cards, articles. How did he treat his kids and his grown kids in the past? They tried to forgive him because he wasn't always there for him because he was really into Scientology and he was not the nicest guy on the block. And they tried to heal because I think he could be very cold and not the most friendly person in the world. He tried to be nice to them, but they moved on. They tried to get along with him and move on. They tried not to hold a grudge when he was growing up. But they thought he was very stubborn. He was set in his own ways and he didn't really want to change. And he wanted finance You know, he was acceptable. He wanted money. Besides, you know, doing Scientology, was in it for the money. The kids thought he was in it for the money, not really trying to help people. He, you know, in the beginning, it might have turned out that in the beginning when he was starting the church, maybe they thought he was trying to help people, but in the end, he was in it for himself and not the money. And he was very moody. He was withdrawn. He could be, you know, silent. You know, he could get upset one minute and nice the other, you know, and they thought he could be very needy too. You know, they didn't know which way he would turn, you know, like, you know, waves. You are unlike anyone else. You're contributing, interested. So they thought he was like no one other, you know, he was over the top as a father and as a role model. The girl says, you are like anyone else, because they thought he was like no one else, because he was his father also. They thought he was supposed to be the role model also of the church. You know, not too many people is your father and the one who runs Scientology. And when they were older, they tried to recover, like I said, and he lost some money. I guess he had problems with money, and he didn't want his kids to know, but they knew about his money problems. And they thought he was, they tried to think they thought he was overbearing and kind of controlling. And he was very emotional, like he could change, you know. He could be nice one minute and then emotional the next. He was, you know, and overbearing, and could be cold-hearted, you know. Things didn't go his way, he got nasty. So they accepted it when they were adults that he was called, and there was conflict, you know. I think some of the kids didn't like the Scientology, so they left and they said, that's it, I'm gonna leave Scientology, I want to leave. There was conflicts. They didn't like how it was being run, so a lot of them probably fought with him and wanted to leave Scientology, and they were one-sided. They didn't do his values. They didn't like, I bet a few people wanted to leave. So that's interesting. Little Red Riding Hood, I'm not a victim. He tried to be kids tried not to be the victim with him because they didn't like, they knew what he was like, so they try not to be a victim. So they try not to be a victim. Okay, I'm going to look up in the past, in their past, how did the staff get along with Hubbard? The staff and the staff. Did they like him? Did they think Arbor was good? And then I'll ask, did they like him? His father, did they like him, or did they just tolerate him? The past, 3 for the past, and 3 for his present when he was alive. And then we'll ask about his son, the one that took it over. Whoa. Whoa, oh my God. There was disaster before he died. Oh my God. People wanted to speak out about Scientology before he passed away. Oh my God. In the past, people wanted to say things about Scientology before Hubbard died. Oh my God. It was painful loss. I think people were worried that people wanted to leave, and he was scared that people would find out the truth, that maybe he was a fraud or something. So there was a lot of people wanting to blow the whistle on Scientology, and they were in pain and tragedy. A lot of people might have passed away and died in Scientology because, you know, maybe they were abused and behind the scenes and they lost their lives. Oh my God. In their childhood, they thought, you know, they didn't have a normal childhood if they had kids that were brought into Scientology when Hubbard was alive. They thought their childhood was okay. They tried to have a carefree and not worry about their childhood. They tried to have teamwork. They tried to be a team person, you know, and work with him. And they tried to focus on the positive. They thought and then when he was later, some of them thought he was braveless, and big changes were coming. Like a lot of them didn't like how things were going, but some people just thought he was fearless and big changes were going to come. Maybe people thought someone who was going to that his son was going to take over because he was getting old, and his son was more fast thinking, and he thought maybe his son would give harmony and be a good influence. Maybe he would be more a good speaker and uh, find solutions to people's problems. And he thought they would be, his son would be more supportive and more nice to them, and they would be more happy in the church. Now I'm going to ask about the son, Ron Howard. Hubbard, sorry, Ron Hubbard. Hopefully I'm saying the person's name. How does the staff think about Hubbard? Do they like him, or do they despise him? Do they dislike, loathe him? Do Hubbard, after his father died in the past? Do they not like Ron Hubbard, or do they do? Or tell me, please, in the past. Okay, progress. They thought he was in the beginning, they thought he would be a good person compared to his father. They thought he was confident, and he was charismatic. He was a good speaker, and they think they lost face with him toward when they thought he was not very good at planning outings and stuff. But they thought he had a lot of energy and passion, though, and they thought he was confident in himself, very confident and daring, like he could say or do anything and no one would stop him. And during the present, release part, unsurrender, letting go. They want to let go of the past of Scientology and make it a better place, improve and have better perspective. They wanted things to get better and do better. And they think these mysterious things are going to come up, like something is going to happen, because there's lack of patience. They don't have any patience with him anymore. They're getting tired of him. The staff, they don't like him very much, and they have not very much patience with him in the present. And also they think he is ruthless, and he has a hidden agendas. They think he's lack of morals, and he's like an absent father figure. He's not really there for people. He says he talks the talk, but he doesn't walk the walk. And he's ruthless. He doesn't really care about how people feel. He was like he's his father's son, and he only cares about himself, becoming popular. So he really doesn't care about people too much. In the future, he thinks he's generous, and he has good advice. He thinks he's creative. In the future, he thinks when he gets older, he has more wisdom. But he argues with people. He's not good at taking advice from people. He fights with people. Like, he thinks he's better than you. He's very narcissistic. He thinks there's conflicts. There was separation in his marriage. I think in his marriage he's separated with his wife. This is what it says. He's separated from his wife and his family, his broken family, and he argued with his family, with his kids, if he has any kids, and his wife, and they just fought. In the future they fought, and in the past they fought. And yeah, there was conflict. They think that he's going to betray them in the future. He's going to be betrayed in the future. He thinks he's going to be betrayed, and people are going to betray him. In the future, people are going to betray Ron Hubbard, and they think he's very deceptive. They think he's very deceptive. In the future, they think he's very deceptive. He's hiding things like how he treats people. He's very deceptive. And he cheated on his wife and cheated on probably the taxes and everything. He's a very cheating person. They don't like him. He cheats. He lied to his wife. I'm going to ask about his wife because you don't see her that much. And then I'll finally talk about Tom Cruise. You don't see his wife, Ron Hubbard's wife. Is she passed? Did she pass over? Did she die? Or, is she not alive? I'm just putting it out there. Did she pass? Is she dead? I don't know. Did she have a heart attack? Did something happen? Natural? Did she die? Ron Hubbard's wife. Is she dead? Please tell me 4 cards. Is she dead? Is she dead? 4 cards there and 2 articles. Did Ron? Is she dead? Ron Hubbard's wife. I'm not good with her name. I'm sorry, but hey, it is what it is. Did she pass away? Please tell me, is she dead? She did. Courage. He had courage about his relationship, and they tested the faith, tasted a test of faith, boundaries. He was tired of her complaining about their marriage. I think she didn't want to be into Scientology anymore. So she complained about that. She didn't want to be in it anymore. She probably wanted to leave. She said enough is enough. But he had courage. She didn't want to be in it anymore. She tested the faith boundaries. She was trying to test the boundaries. Like, I don't really want to be in Scientology. So she did that. Wisdom. She wanted to be, I'm going through her, wisdom, search, strength, pride, caution. She was trying to be cautious with him because she knew what he was like, and she wanted to be left alone. She didn't want to be with him anymore. She wanted to leave him. I think she wanted to leave. She wanted to have patience and be left alone and not be with him anymore. And he didn't want to be with her either, because she was emotional about being in this relationship. She was fearful of being in this relationship. She had anxiety. She was worried that he might do something to her. Oh my God. She was fearful about him, about being in the relationship. Oh my God. And she was confused, like, what's going to happen to me? Is he going to do something to me? And she was very depressed. This is from her. She's very depressed. She thought he was a loudmouth and saying nasty things about her to people, gossiping, saying things that weren't true. And she wanted to do a different spiritual path in Scientology. So, yeah. And there were bad news coming up about this. Going to be bad news. It doesn't say if so far. You have a mighty shield. She wanted people to be on her side and stand up for her. Lost Magic, Lost Magic, the Black Cat. I'm not really sure. Rebalance. I think she wanted to rebalance herself, like move on. So I'm going to ask 3 more cards. Was she, is she alive or not? It doesn't really say if she is. It says that she wanted to leave this marriage, though, which isn't good because she thought he was not a good person. She wanted to be left alone. I'll try 3 more cards. Was she, is she alive or not? Last 4 more cards. And if it doesn't tell me, it doesn't tell me, because sometimes then I'll talk Tom Cruise. Sorry if this is a long video, but I have questions. Okay. I think she knew there was money problems in Scientology, and she thought it was unfair. She thought Ron was selfish and didn't care about other people, and he was very narcissistic and self-centered and didn't care about people. And it was this one-sided relationship. She thought he only cared about himself. and she thought he was hiding something from the people and her and stuff, the staff and the staff and the people in Scientology, and she was blocked. I feel like she was blocked. Maybe something did happen to her. She was blocked, and there was end of a bad news in a relationship, which isn't good. I asked, is she around it? It said bad news with her. She's blocked, self-loved. She loved herself, but at the end of the relationship ended, and it was bad news. So I think something could have happened to her. She tried to nag him by saying, I want to be out of this relationship. I don't want to be in Scientology. And there was conflict in home, and she didn't want to be in the relationship. She didn't want to be in the marriage. She didn't want to be in, she felt smothered. And he was like obsessed with Scientology. You have to stay in Scientology. If you don't like it, too bad. And he was obsessed with it. And she felt like he was smothering her, saying you have to stay in Scientology or you're going to be sorry. So, and she thought he was nagging her, like, you have to stay in Scientology. If you don't, you're going to be very sorry. So the family, she wanted some money out of the relationship, but she wanted the traditions of her relationship and tradition of Scientology. She didn't want the stuff that is out there in Scientology. She was very more of a traditional person, and she wanted some money and security, but not in the hands of Ron. So something did happen to her. I think she had some bad news. Something did happen to her, but they didn't say if she, died or something. So bad news happened to her. So maybe it did happen. Something did happen to her. All right. When it came to Tom Cruise and Ron, were they really friends, or is this just a show and tell thing? Was Ron and Tom Cruise really friends, or was this just a stunt to get more people to join on Scientology? I'm going to do in the past and the present. How they're really, yeah. In the past, in the present, past, and the present. Please tell me about Tom Cruise and the guy who runs Scientology. How's their relationship going in the past, present, and the future? All right. All right. So here we go. Tom Cruise, how his relationship with the head of, in the past, it was choices. It was a good choice. He thought, Scavenge thought it would be a good choice to have Tom Cruise because he could be the spokesperson and a lot of people might want to join. And it was a wish and opportunity. In the beginning, it was just him wanting people to be able to join Scientology. So it wasn't just to make friends. It was just a choice of, he's a popular actor, stunt actor, from all these movies, Top Gun, Mission Impossible, Cocktail, all the Mission Impossible movies, a Few Good Men and stuff. So there was choices. It was wishful thinking. There was opportunities. He's a big star. He could bring clout. It was a beginning of a relationship. Him and him having a relationship. They became friends. They growed, and there was a breakthrough in the relationship. He was enthusiastic. But there was failure. There's unfinished business because he was married to a bunch of these women, and they didn't like the women he had, so there was unfinished business. So he his friend, the one who Ron Cavish, Hubbard, wanted him to divorce these women because it was unfinished business and lack of vision. They didn't really do the vision like Tom Cruise did. So he wanted them to block the women and divorce these women. You know, he divorced all, he's been married 4 times, so all of them, the first 3 left. And in the past, you are in the ground is right. Now you must continue to water the seeds so you have. So yeah, he wanted things to get better and get rewards, you know, of get the being in the higher up of being in Scientology, getting the purpose of it. And in the present, he's happy and comfort in being in Scientology. He has no problem of being in Scientology right now. He's happy in it. He has no problems. He's comfort. He's living in the high life. Tom Cruise and them, both of them are having the highlight. But there's difficult decisions because, you know, he had to give up his daughter, his present, his last marriage to Kate Holmes. He had to give that up. He had to make difficult decisions, you know, in the crossroad of his past marriages and his past relationships. You know, he goes through women, like changing socks. He had nightmares, though, and anxiety behind the scene. He has some anxiety of being in Scientology because of lack of relationships, because he goes through them, like I said, like socks, and I think he has nightmares about that, and he feels overwhelmed in having relationships with him, too. He's not really happy, but always behind the scene in the present time. He's having nightmares, depression. I think he has depression, but he doesn't take medicine because I don't believe in that. So he's very depressed, Tom Cruise, even though he hides it from you know, from the people. He has depression. You have the power now in your magic. So he's trying to make better in his life. So in the future with Tom Cruise and Scientology, there's going to be tensions. Like people are going to think, you know, he's not the nicest guy there. The people are thinking he's not the nicest person there, and he's going to be unhappy there. You know, he's conflict with others. He has conflicts. He's not a very nice person, Tom Cruise, with the people in Scientology. They don't like him, and he doesn't like them. You know, he puts on an act. He's pretending he's a nice person, but people don't like him. He has conflicts with them. He fights with people, Tom Cruise, in the future. In the future, he fights more than he did in the past. He's very dishonest. He's very dishonest, Tom Cruise, about Scientology and what goes behind. And he's abusive. He's not nice. He's abusive to the people who are, you know, the people run it, and the people who give money, and the people who work there, and the staff, and the people, their families. He's abusive. He's you know, karma's gonna bite him in the ass. You know, comes around, goes around. Something's gonna come because he's nasty to the staff and the people behind, you know, the scenes. You know, and he's unfair to them. He treats them like crap, like shit. I said sometimes, I swear, this is adult, this is entertainment purposes. But Tom Cruise is, you know, has a false thing where he pretends he's nice in front of the camera, but behind he's nasty. He's cruel to the people. He thinks he's going to plan, maybe he'll try to start his own religion or take over the guy who's running Scientology. And he has overseas opportunity. Maybe he'll decide maybe to start his own religion or leave Scientology and do something else. Maybe he'll leave and start doing something else, another thing. Accused to greater opportunities opening for you. You're slow. You're going to learn more and keep explaining. So he has more things he's going to plan with Scientology, or he might start another religion or do something else. So people don't really like him in Scientology. I'm going to look that up. Do people really despise Tom Cruise? Right now it says they don't like him, so I'm going to look it up. Do people despise Tom Cruise? Really despise Tom Cruise? Do the people despise Tom Cruise and Hubbard? You know, do they despise him? Entertainment purposes only? Do they despise Tom Cruise and Hubbard? You know, for what they've done, what he's been, how he treats them? Oh, cards. Do they despise Hubbard? Yes, they despise him, hate him. Teaching, spiritual tradition. They thought he's doing traditions that they think is very old-fashioned, and it's not new ways. And they're trying to forgive him, but it's hard because they've been treated like crap in the other things. So they try to be very compassionate to him because in the old things they said they trying to be compassionate, but they think they're trying to be close and they think they're depressed and they feel stuck because the way he treats people. He feels missed opportunities. They had missed opportunities because he wants things to be his way or the highway, Tom Cruise. So they feel stuck. Like, God, a lot of people want to leave. They feel stuck and they want to leave. Creative, renew, hope, and faith. Pleasure, balance. They're trying to heal from the way he treats people. A lot of people are gonna leave and try to heal. Maybe they go to therapy after they leave Scientology. Maybe they go to therapy, see psychiatrist, therapist, because they want to learn to love themselves. Sorry, block the girl. They want to try to love themselves because of what happened with Tom Cruise and the leader of Scientology. I'm not good with names because I have ADHD. They want freedom. They don't want him to, Tom Cruise and the leader of Scientology and the people who run it, the higher up. They want freedom and to find a way to get out. They want to take in control. They want to leave. A lot of people are going to be leaving Scientology more and more. That's what it says. They don't like him. They want to leave. A lot of people are going to be leaving. Yeah. So a lot of people don't like Tom Cruise. They despise Tom Cruise and that guy. What's the future for Scientology? Is it going to, are they going to lose funding? Are more people going to leave? Are more people going to leave Scientology? Any other people? Are more people going to leave Scientology? Because right now it doesn't look like Tom Cruise is leaving anytime soon. If he does it, he's going to start his own thing. So are more people going to leave? So far it says yes, people want to, but let's see. Yeah, more people are going to leave. They think he's militative. What's the word? He's like, he pretends to be nice to you, but he really is, and he's unreadable. He pretends he's one person. He's always on an act. He pretends to be nice in front of the cameras, but he really isn't, and he's not trustworthy. They don't trust Tom Cruise and the staff and the one who runs it all, and they think that he's very jealous and moody. He goes like mood swings, If you don't do things Tom Cruise likes, you're in big trouble. And there's going to be heartbreak. They feel heartbreak because they trusted this guy. They gave him money. They worked hard for him. And this a lot of deception behind the scenes of Scientology, with Tom Cruise and everybody who runs it and the leaders. So there's going to be grief. People are going to feel lonely. They feel sad. There's despair, failure, disappointment, sadness, lonely. They want to leave, eventually leave. It says they want to leave. They want to be in control. They don't feel sad and lost and not in control. They feel regret that they stayed so long. They raised their kids in Scientology. They want to leave. They feel regret that they kept their kids there and who was abused at perspective and advantage. They thought they were educated in Scientology. I'm going to ask one question, and then I'll leave it. Were they people abused in Scientology? You hear stories where people abused in Scientology by the managers, Tom Cruise or any of these. Were they abused? I'll ask 4 cards and then that's it because I'm getting tired. Because this takes a lot out of you. Please tell me, was the staff or the people running staff or the people, behind the scenes ever abused mentally, physically? Like, say you can't have food or anything like that? Whoa, yeah, definitely yes. They thought it was giving, like saying, oh, we'll give you stuff. They thought at first that they were fair and kind and generous. They thought it was going to be a nice charity, but there was fear and anxiety. Like they knew it wasn't really true that these people would be deceptive and being trickery. They promised something, but that it wasn't coming. It was not true. They were in danger. They were worried that that they weren't going to happen. The daiquiri. That the deception. There was deception. Like people were not really being honest. There was danger that these people were not going to help out. That there was anxiety, like, oh God, people are lying, not telling the truth, about going to do that. There was danger in Scientology, working in Scientology. There was danger, and they also did feel like they were being loved by some people, and they felt very emotionally overwhelmed, and they wanted to be happy in being in Scientology. They wanted to be happy and start new beginnings in Scientology. But they thought they were being naive in being in Scientology because they weren't free spirit and they wanted to be happy being in Scientology. But they weren't. They thought people were lying and not telling the truth. And being in Scientology, they thought people were being deceptive and tricking and lying. They thought they were in danger, because people weren't always nice to them. They were being trickery and not being kind because they thought they were being mean. They promised to give them food and giving them more money, and they were confused about it. They thought their health was in risk. Their health was in risk. They didn't know if their life was in danger because they felt like they were, being not fair. They pretended to be fair, but they weren't very fair. They were being deceptive and not being honest with their health, and so they weren't treated well. They weren't treated well. Scientology. Into my next, I hope you like this video. Into my next video, I hope you liked this video. If you like it, please thumbs up and sign up. Until my next video, take care and bye.